Okay. Hey there, guys. Today, I'm publishing this video not live, pre-recording it for everyone. Oops, sorry about that. Hey everyone. We're doing this video a little bit early, or I'm gonna be uploading it. Second. Doing this one early. I think it's going to be seen. You can watch it later because I'm going to be a bit busy at regular time at 3. So publishing this earlier. Hope everyone is doing well and things are good. And we'll hopefully see you live tomorrow. But let's get started. And today we're going to discuss about, we're talking about yesterday and the day before, we were talking about this thing Hashem promised to Abraham. And he promised him that we're going to make a nation out of your descendants, out of your children. They're going to be a nation. And the way we're going to do that is by creating this outside pressure. Outside pressure is going to help build them. And we said that there were 2 ways that Hashem does this. One is people trying to physically hurt us. That gets us together. We told the story of the 2 strangers in the playground, and the bullies come and they work together under that pressure. And the other way that it works is through other nations trying to say, we're going to make you just like us. We're going to destroy you in terms of how you are as a people, your values and what your Torah and what you hold very important. We're going to destroy that way of thinking by making you just like one of us. And that's the way of Lavan. There's the way of Lavan's like that, and the other way with the bullying and the outside pressure, that's Paro. And we told over the story of Lavan, and now I want to talk today. I want to tell you about, okay, great. We get this outside pressure, right? But how does that work? Like, what happens once the pressure is applied to us? What are the changes that happen? What are the things that occur amongst the Jewish people, the changes that now this pressure is making them? So, for example, if you take clay, okay, and you just hold it in your hand, it's pretty muddy and it's really sloppy and crumbly in pieces. But when you push it together, it creates, you can push it and smush it together to make like a ball. It's like Play-Doh, right? And you can push it together. Now, we know that when you take Play-Doh and you push it together, you get a ball, or it all comes together from that pressure. But what's happening like deep down inside the Play-Doh on the molecular level, on a tiny scale? What's happening? What's making the Play-Doh act that way? What makes the Play-Doh come together on a very small scale? What's the science behind that? If we were to look down with a microscope all the way to this Play-Doh, to the single Play-Doh cell, and if your Play-Doh's blue, that cell is going to be like a blue cell, or if it's red, okay, maybe. Not really, but okay. What's it going to look like? What's the changes that we're going to see that will ultimately lead for it to become one thing? So we can ask the same thing about the Jewish people. We get this pressure, which is otherwise known as Galus, okay, or exile for the Jewish people. And Galus comes in one of 2 ways, like Lavan or like Paro. And how does that Galus, what does it look like? When we look at the Galus, what are the things that are happening because of the pressure? What are the changes that are happening because of the pressure? What do those look like? What does it look like before? What does it look like after? What are those changes? Because if we understand those changes, it's important to understand those changes so that we can think about them and experience them more so that our Seder is more impactful to us. It has more meaning to us. We can experience it more. But also for another reason, and that is we all hope that we see the base of Mikdash. We all want to see the base of Mikdash. Maybe some people more than others, but we all want to see the base of Mikdash. And we all have this idea of what it's going to be like when we have the base of Mikdash. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. Go to the base of Mikdash, giant building, Kohanim, Levium singing, so much going on. It'll be like being in a room with Hashem, something we don't really know so much about. We've never really experienced, and there's so much amazing things. Just like you just think about Sukkot, right? Sukkot, Simchas Beis HaShoeva that goes on at the base of Mikdash during Sukkot is a 6-day party. It's crazy, like amazing, lots going on. We all want the base of Mikdash. And we all want the base of Mikdash because we don't have the base of Mikdash. And we don't have the base of Mikdash because we're in Galus. We're in a state where we don't live as a Jewish people under a Jewish king and under the Torah in Eretz Yisrael completely right now. We're getting there, and lots of things are changing, and more of us are living in Eretz Yisrael, in Israel, which is amazing. But we're not there yet. We're not entirely there. And we haven't been for the most of our history. Most of the time the Jewish people have been around. We haven't been in Eretz Yisrael, in Israel, with a base of Mikdash. We just haven't. We've spent more time in Galus, in exile, outside of that type of living than that type of living. We spent more time without a base of Mikdash, without living in Eretz Yisrael, than with a base of Mikdash and with living in Eretz Yisrael. And we should ask ourselves, why is that? Why is it, if the Jewish people are supposed to have a base of Mikdash, and the Jewish people are supposed to live in Israel, why is it that most of our history we haven't been there? Why is that? And I'll give you a minute to think about that. Why would that be? Good question. Maybe some of you know. Maybe some of you are, I don't know. It's a good question. This is a very good question. I have to rethink my whole life. Maybe we do. Why is it that we've spent more time not in Israel without a base of Mikdash than with one in Eretz Yisrael? Why is that? It's a good question. While you're still pondering it, let's give a story. Let me tell kind of an example, a story, and we can learn a lesson. We can understand it through the story. So, a man is, imagine you're heading to a party. Imagine you're heading to a party. In fact, not only are you heading to a party, you are the life of the party. When it comes to parties, you are party man. Everybody knows you're the guy that makes the parties happen. You're the guy. So you're on the way. You've been invited. It is your job. It is your job and your sworn duty to make sure that every party is as awesome as can be. You are a party man. So imagine that the biggest party in the world's going on, and you're invited. Of course, you're going to be at this party. Everything about you has been leading up to this. Your party, you party man at the biggest party ever. So But so you're meant to be at this party. In fact, you're not only meant to be at this party, you're meant to be the center of this party. But you got to get to the party. And there's a lot of things you got to do till you get there. You don't have your party suit. You don't have your party hat. You don't have your party supplies. You don't have the food. You don't have the drink. There's so much work to do to get ready to be the party guy for this party. So 6 months before the party, you start preparing. You start making the list. I'm going to need 8 million balloons. I'm going to need to cut up 100,000 pounds of confetti that we're just going to explode out of the air all over everybody into their hair and never get it out. We're going to need glow sticks, glow-in-the-dark paint. You make this whole list. We're going to need big punch bowls to hold punch. You make this giant list. Oh, and you gotta find out. Now you gotta find out. You're gonna need music, and now you gotta see which band is gonna play at the party. And you gotta go through a whole list of bands. You gotta interview them. You gotta find the perfect band, and then you gotta find the perfect set list, the perfect list of songs that they're gonna play at this party. When they're gonna play the songs, how they're gonna play the songs, stuff, everything. And you do this for everything. You do this for the food. You do this for the venue, where the party's going to be, everything. You spend 6 months, if not more, maybe more. Maybe you spend 2 years planning this party. You spend a long time planning this party and doing all this work. And then at the end of all that work, all the things that you've done, then you're ready to finally throw the party. Okay? Maybe you see where I'm going with this. The Jewish people we're created, we become the Jewish people at Pesach, coming out of Mitzrayim. And we're new. We're brand new people. We're young, we're not experienced, we don't know very much about what it means to be a Jewish people. We're like kids. And there's a lot. You don't just become the best overnight. That doesn't happen. It takes a lot to grow and to become who you're going to be and to become the nation that we got to be. There's so much work to be done. Some of that work needs to happen maybe at the beginning because we're young. We need a very good scenario where it's very good for us so that we can learn a lot of the essentials for when it becomes tough. So we need to be in Israel. We need to be in the base of Mikdash, where we can learn a lot, and we can get everything that we need to prepare. Because the next part of our journey of going out there, and the next part of our growth is going to be much harder. But you spend more time preparing than the actual party, and the party only lasts 4 or 5 hours, and you've been preparing for a year or two. And so we're going to spend a lot more time in Galus, in exile, than actually just being who we're going to be ultimately. Especially, well, for right now. Sorry. Better running. You want to say hello?
Hi, bye.
Sure. We're going to take a quick interlude. Say hi and bye.
Hi, bye.
We need to grow. We need to get everything ready for when we're going to become the ultimate party guy, to become the Jewish people. And so what that tells us about Galus and about exile is that it's there for us to help us grow, help us develop, help us become the people that we need to become. And the things that are going to happen under the pressure are going to be things that help us get there, that help us become that people, to grow to our full potential. We're going to develop. Galus, exile, is going to develop the Jewish people. So while we like to think of it, and we're always told about Galus as it's a bad thing, it's not good, and it's terrible. Those things, there are parts of it that are not nice. They're not pleasant. They're not things that are particularly enjoyable at all. But they're all for our good. They're all there to help us develop and to become how we're supposed to ultimately be. They're there to help us develop. They help us develop. We become who we're going to be. It helps us grow. Galus is the place in which the Jewish people develop, grow, to become who we are ultimately going to be. So it's really important for us to know what are the things that are happening under that pressure. So while that pressure is going on, what are the things that are going on that are the actual changes that are happening, the molecular changes that are happening that are making us into the Jewish people? That's going to be really important to know because we can look out for those things. We can work on those things and we can help make us and get us to where we need to be faster or better. So we're going to take a look and see what those things are. Okay. So if you open up your Haggadah, if you have one with you, don't have one with you, it's fine. Maybe we'll take a minute. You can go get one. Or you can pause the video if you're watching it again. You can go get a Haggadah. And we are we're up to this pasuk of Arami Oved Avi. The Armenian tried to destroy my father. The Armenian, being Lavan, he tried to destroy our father, Yaakov. And then it says, Vayered Mitzrayma, Vayagor Sham. We went down to Mitzrayim and we sojourned. We were there. We thought we'd be there for a little bit of time. Just a vacation. Dim Seimat, few in people, very small. Vayhi Sham Lagoy. There we became a goy, a nation. Gadol Atzum Varav. How they translate here. Great, mighty, and numerous. Great, mighty, and numerous. What do those things mean? This pasuk here is going to describe to us the process how Galus works. Let's go through it one by one. Okay, by Yagor Sham. The Haggadah says, Malamed, this teaches us, Shelo Yard Yaakov Vinu Lishtakeh B'Mitzrayim. Yaakov went down there only to be there temporarily, not for a long time. Ela Lagorsham, just to go there for a little bit of time. Shenamar, as the pasuk says, Vayomru El Paro, they said to Paro, Lagor Ba'aretz Banu. You've come to your land to just to visit. Because we don't have anything to feed our sheep. Back where we live, back in the land of Canaan, there's no food. So we're just here for a little bit. There's a big famine going on. No food in the land of Canaan. So now let us settle a little bit in the land of Goshen. We'll be gone before you even know it. This is the first part. The first part about Galus and more actually. Oh, we missed a step. It says Anus al Pia Dibor. We were decreed against our will to do it. Thing number one to know about Galus. We never do it willingly. We always fight, and it's always a struggle, the challenges that we face. We never just jump into the next thing. We always put up a fight before we go on to the next part. That's important. Because if we just gave into everything and just let everything happen all the time, and you just said, yeah, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll do that, before you know it, there's not much. You've let in, maybe you say, Well, we're out here in Galus, and it's starting to rain. Starting to rain. Okay, maybe we should go inside. No, no, no. Don't go inside. If it's raining, we're supposed to be wet. So you stay outside and you get soaked and maybe catch a cold, and now you're really sick, and that's not good. So we go inside. Oh, but then the roof starts to leak. So then we could say, well, let's stand under the leak because we're supposed to get wet. Well, no, we don't do that because then the same things happen. So we put a pot on the floor and we stand away. Next thing you know, tornado comes, blows the whole house over. Now you're standing out in the rain. Now you're soaked. We always try our best, and we always fight against what is going to happen, even though it's going to happen. And there's reasons for that. That's because you want to make sure it's the right thing. So whenever we go into Galus or any step of the way, any part of development, it's always against our will. We're always doing it not because we want to, but because it has to be done. And change is also not comfortable. No, we don't like to change things. So then Vayagor Sham, then we get to that second part. We always keep in mind, we always have to know that while we're here, it's only temporarily. We're not here. This is not the goal. This is not the end goal. This is something we always have to keep in mind, especially today. We're still, a lot of times we're very, very comfortable where we are. But we always have to remember that this is not where we're supposed to be. Jewish people are only supposed to live ultimately in Israel with the Beis Hamikdash and the king and the Sanhedrin and under Torah. And we're not there yet, but we always have to keep our eye on the prize. Always keep the goal in mind. Bim say ma'at, next part. In few numbers. Kamashim Emar, that's what it says in the pasuk. V'shivim nafesh yardu alosecha mitzrayma. 70 people, our fathers, went down to Mitzrayim. V'tasamcha Hashem okecha kechokvei hashemayim l'rov. Now you Hashem, you made us as many as the stars in the sky. We come in small. We come in small. We start off small wherever we go, and then we grow. We grow out. And why is this important? What does this tell us about? Well, while we're small, we're able to stay close together. It's easy to stay together and be one people when we're a small amount. Think of your own immediate family. It's very easy for you and your parents and your cousins, your grandparents. You all kind of stick together. You're all very close because your family's small. But as your family gets bigger and bigger, it is harder to stay together, like we talked about. And so that's what happens when we're in Galus, and then that's going to trigger the pressure to come in. V'hisham l'goy. We became a nation. Melamid shahayu Yisrael mitzuyanim sham. This teaches us that the Jewish people were outstanding. We are very distinctive. We're outstanding. Wherever we go, because we have the Torah, because we're Jewish people and we act a certain way, we become the guys. Everyone looks to us. We are outstanding in everything. Outstanding in science and medicine and business and learning and everything. That's what happens. It's another thing that goes on during the process. Gadol Atzum. Okay. This means Gadol Atzum, great and mighty. Kamashin Amar, B'nai Yisrael paru v'yishutzu v'yirbu v'yatmu v'meod meod v'timalea aretz osam. The B'nai Yisrael multiplied, they spread out, they increased, they grew a lot, and they filled up the land. Gadol Atzum means that we were everywhere. Maybe not everyone was Jewish, because that's not true, but we were everywhere. We filled up and put ourselves in every different part of Egyptian life, or in the places and living of any place that we are. So that people look to us, people consider us, people think about what we're doing, and they say, maybe I should be doing that. We have a lot of influence. We have a lot of influence. And if you think about it, there's this thing, maybe you've heard it before, maybe not. A large percentage of Nobel Prize winners are Jewish. In fact, there's a larger representation of Jewish winners than any other nationality. Even though Jewish people are like a half of a percent of the population, or like a half of a percent of the world population. We're only 15 to 20 million people in a world of 7 billion people. We're like nothing. But yet we're everywhere. Everybody knows about us, and everybody talks about us, and we're the talk of the town. That's what happens in Galus as well. One of those things we focus in and we can see that's going on during Galus is that becomes apparent. Is that people notice us, people listen to what we're doing, we become outstanding, and we have an effect on the world around us. The Rav. Now, V'Rav means, they translate here as numerous, meaning many numbers. But let's see what it says. Kamashanama, as it says in the pasuk, Revava tzemach hatzada. I increased you like the plants of the field. Nisaticha. V'tirbi v'tigdali v'tavoi ba'adi yadayim. Grew and developed and became, I'm going to say, you're charming, beautiful of figure. Shadayim nachona usa'arech tzimech. Your hair grew long. Lots of erev ve'eria, but you were naked and bare. Ve'avar layach ve'erech misposeses v'damayach v'amalach v'damayach chayi v'amalach v'damayach chayi. Passed over you and saw you downtrodden in your blood, and I said to you, through your blood shall you live, and I said to you, through your blood shall you live. Now, V'Rav can mean many, but if we're looking at the example that it's giving, it says that you grew like a plant in the field, or you increased like a plant in the field. Now, does a plant in a field just multiply? Some do, say like a weed can, but it's more talking about tzemach hatzada, like the growth of the field. The growth of the field, how plants grow and develop. This is the most important one. V'Rav, we developed. Galus helps us and makes the Jewish people develop to become more of the people, more like what we're ultimately supposed to be. So, just to kind of recap, we never go down because we want to. We never go to the next part of Galus because we want to. We never do. Change is hard and no one likes to do it. But there's a value to not just jumping in. We know that we're never there permanently. It's always temporary because we have our eye on the goal where we're ultimately going. We go in few numbers so that we're close at first, and that doesn't trigger the outside forces. But then we become many. We become larger. We are outstanding wherever we go. People notice us for our behavior, being exceptional. We have a lot of influence on the world because of it. Everyone looks to us, and it causes change in the world. It really develops the world as a whole. And we grow as a people. We develop and grow as to who we are as a people towards where we're ultimately going. Okay? And we're going to stop there for today in that part. And I want to just switch over to second part of our video which is a halacha. And this is something I want to bring up. Really should have talked about it yesterday. It's a little bit out of order. I forgot to bring this up. Very important. Personally, I didn't know this till I was much older. I never knew this as a kid. Really important. I don't think many people know it. So go out and tell everybody you know, parents, neighbors, brothers, sisters. But there's a mitzvah. The halacha says, the rule is, from halfway through the day of the erev Pesach, so that's to be the 14th of Nisan, halfway through the day, the erev Pesach, you're not allowed to do malacha. Malacha. You mean like it's like Yom Tov already? No, 1 second. Yom Tov starts at night, not halfway through the day. No, the halacha is that halfway through the day, you're not supposed to be doing any malacha anymore. That means you're not supposed to be doing. You could only do things that you would. 1 second. 1 second. You're only allowed to do things that you would be allowed to do on Chol Hamoed. That's so Chol Hamoed is you got Yom Tov, which is like Shabbos in many ways, and then you have the days in between, where you basically it feels like it's just any other day of the week in terms of what you can do. And then there's the last day of Yom Tov, which is like Shabbos again, kind of sandwiching in Pesach. And during Chol Hamoed, while we do and are able, we don't have to act the way we act to do the things we do like on Shabbos. There are restrictions. There are things that we're not supposed to be doing. And so from halfway, from Chatzos, from halfway through the halachic day, remember we said the halacha day is from when the sun comes up to when it sets, divided into 12 parts. So halfway down in those hours, going on towards Pesach, towards when Yom Tov starts, you're not allowed to. You have to act the way you would act on Chol Hamoed. Well, how would we act on Chol Hamoed? There are a few things that you're not supposed to do on Chol Hamoed. For example, and I think this one is the most important to talk about, and we'll talk over the rest of them later. But you're not supposed to cut your hair. You're not supposed to get a haircut. You're not supposed to shave or cut your hair after halfway through midday on erev Pesach. Now, this is a big one because Sfiras HaOmer starts in Pesach. Sfiras HaOmer, everybody's hair grows out, or maybe grows down, or maybe you grow a giant beard, or maybe you don't grow any hair at all. But most people, their hair gets crazy. And so you want to make sure you get that haircut. So you make sure that you get your haircut in the morning or any day before, and not after midday, because we're not supposed to do that. Okay? Great. Hope everybody's well, and I hope everybody has a great day.